and we finally rejoined Bizette and Avenger. I was looking forward to this because we have not actually gotten their perspective for a while. Figured after we'd gotten killed by them, we would at least get their perspective on things. I awakened from the darkness. It's October 8th again. As usual, we're back at the start. Let's see, my master is still asleep, as I thought. Beautifully defenseless as always, in a way that arouses nearby men, namely me. Oh god. I kinda hope he hasn't done anything. He doesn't do anything to her while she's sleeping. She looks like a normal girl when she's sleeping. Whenever I see her like this, I get an overwhelming urge to really go to town on her. Yeah, oh my god. It's probably because she's always wearing that armor when she's awake. Thinking of her in terms of that rule of 10, the woman sleeping here so peacefully is, after subtracting 10 from 23, a mere brat of 13, right on the cusp of puberty. Well, I mean, she is, in reality, like a grown woman. She's in her 20s, isn't she? And with this in front of me, it would be weird if the urge didn't arise to play some sort of prank on her. But, well, now's not the time for that. This time, Bizette did a good job. Using my Noble Phantasm and Bizette's Mystic Code together to maximum effect, we defeated master after master. In the end, we even crushed Saber, who up until now had turned the tables on us every time. Vergavesta, my Noble Phantasm, which sealed Saber's movements away by inflicting a fatal wound, or at least what seemed like one, on her. The trick behind it is this: it's a curse of retribution. A curse that inflicts the victim's wounds upon the attacker as well. If I were slashed across the chest with a sword, then my opponent would feel the same pain. And if my arm were cut off, my attacker would lose feeling in his arm as well. It's a passive Noble Phantasm to the end, but it has the huge point in its favor of ensuring that retribution will be carried out no matter what. Originally, this sort of reversal curse had hardly any effect on heroic spirits with strong magic resistance. Against one with magic resistance as strong as Saber's, it should, on the contrary, just make the damage to me even worse. But once the conditions for its use are met, Vergavesta will completely ignore its target's magic resistance. There are just two. It can be used only once against the same target, and one who casts the curse must not have died yet. When I told Bizette about my Noble Phantasm, she said, "Keeping yourself alive really is your specialty. With a Noble Phantasm like that, nobody should be able to kill you." And got angry for some reason. It was as though she were saying she couldn't forgive a guy who dwells in such a perfect safe zone. But it's nothing so convenient as that. Vergavesta isn't the kind of Noble Phantasm that invokes itself. I have to carefully determine the right time to use it. It's a spell, so someone has to actually be around to cast it. Oh, in other words, instant death would be bad? How very insightful. It should somehow go without saying, right? I can't reflect the curse back to the attacker if I'm dead. Sorry, I jumped to a conclusion again. Your Noble Phantasm is certainly difficult to use. You said it. If what I have it reflect on is just a shallow wound, then the damage to the opponent is small. On the other hand, if I try to take serious damage, I could die the instant I receive the injury. The preparations I have to make to use it are difficult for sure, but what's really important is that it's impossible to kill the enemy with Vergavesta. I can't even aim for a simultaneous strike with theirs. I can return wounds up to the point they don't kill me, but I can't lay a scratch on them if I'm already dead. Therefore, about the best I can hope for is to take a nearly fatal wound, then somehow survive long enough to send it back at my attacker. It's a really roundabout way of doing things. Yeah, it sounds like a pain in the ass. You gotta get really lucky, I guess. Well, or unlucky, depending on how you look at it. But that was more than enough for me this time around. That's because I got a master with an ace up her sleeve that equals the power of a Noble Phantasm. A quasi-Noble Phantasm. Nah, it'd be a mistake to call it that. It's one of the few that, after the passage of untold millennia, has remained until the present day, a genuine Noble Phantasm. The Noble Phantasms of servants are just objects they owned while they lived, and are nothing more than lost legends today. But Bizette, no, those of the Fraga bloodline have stubbornly kept charge of and handed down that sword until the present day. Fragrak's abilities are those of a simple ray of light, but its additional effects are truly interesting. It can't be invoked for use simply through being charged with magical energy. Rather, it's an interception armament specialized solely in countering. It won't be awakened unless faced with the opponent's greatest attack. As soon as the enemy starts that attack, Fragrak will activate itself on them before they can finish it. Thragrak is an attack with the power to go against the flow of time. As for the result of its use, look at how Saber went down for your answer. Once it comes down to a face-off between two noble phantasms, nobody can stand up to Bizet. If there's another noble phantasm out there that can beat it, it'd need more than just speed or strength. It would need to have something about it that can undermine Thragrak's special characteristic. As far as I know, there's nobody with a frickin' ridiculous noble phantasm like that. Well, except for that one bastard, maybe. I wonder who that could be. I'm repeating myself, but in a fight between noble phantasms, Bizet is pretty close to a god of war. Then the rest is simple. I use my noble phantasm to maximum effect to pave the way for her. I drive the enemy servant into a corner and lead them to using their own noble phantasm. And after I do, it's showtime for Bizet. The timing of Thragrak's invocation or the difficulty of activating it are no concern to me. Whatever kind of pain and hardship is felt by the body of a human tasked with bearing a cursed sword from the Age of Gods, it makes no difference as far as I'm concerned. Bizet's never made so much as one wrong move in all this time. As a partner, that's probably the part of her most worthy of praise. Thanks to that, she was even able to beat Saber. Only the Einsburn Master remains. The last ticket to Bizet's heart's desire is almost within her grasp. Man, the fact that things have gone this smoothly means we must have odds about as high as the stars in the night sky on our side. To put it bluntly, there was about a 1/4000th chance that it would turn out so well. That's about the number of stars that can be seen with the naked eye. Still, that doesn't change the fact that we've got to start all over from scratch again, does it? Bizet's eyelids begin to flutter. She takes a pained-sounding breath, but then, as though relieved, lapses back into calm silence. Should be another 20 seconds or so before she wakes up. Well then, once she's awake, she'll be itching for a fight, so I guess I'll go hide myself in the corner, where I can shake and tremble in fear. If I try messing with her like usual, there's a very good chance she'll send my head on a permanent vacation from the rest of my body. I kinda wonder what he's done to her before. I guess this is the last time I'll be able to see her clearly. Scratching my head at the trivial but lingering attachment I'm feeling, I retreat into the safe zone. My consciousness slowly returns. Overwhelmed with a fatigue so heavy that my body feels made out of lead, I take another deep breath and feel fulfilled. I've repeated this ritual countless times now, rebirth after rebirth. Once again, I've returned from that horrid abyss of death and came back here. No, that shouldn't be the case. Why? Why again? Even though I was certain I defeated Saber this time. Even though they didn't beat us, we didn't lose, not even once, and yet… After a rebirth, my eyesight is always fuzzy for a while. I survey the unlit room. Angra Mayu is not in his usual chair. He's off in a corner of the room fizzling with that puzzle. Yo, looks like you're up, Master. How does it feel to have your life restored? The same greeting as always. Like every time we return to this night after a defeat, I confirm the usual matters with him. Avenger, what am I? Or rather, what are we doing here? We beat Saber, the day ended, and after that… I have no memories after that. I have no memories of the fourth night after defeating Saber. After that we came back here. You should already know why. You've experienced it so many times already after all. He appears as no more than a shadow, almost hidden from view. All I can sense of him is his presence in the room. And he's grinning, the laughing face of a demon that delights in watching human torment. Angra Mayu, answer me. What is going on? We beat Saber and Ryder, and Assassin and Caster and Archer. The only one we still had to take out was the Einsburn's Berserker. So why? Why are we back here at the first day again? I slammed my fist into the sofa. That wasn't the sound effect of her slamming her fist into a sofa. My body, still stiff from rigor mortis, moves through the force of my anger alone. My servant, Angra Mayu, hasn't moved from the corner of the room but remains there, gazing at me as he grins. Why will you not answer me? You are my servant, are you not? Your role is to cooperate with me so we may fight and win together. So what is this? Irritation and disappointment send the words rushing out of my mouth like water through a burst dam. Well, of course, I knew from the start that this servant was not to be trusted. I don't know why I'm letting myself feel so disappointed. There's no need to ask why, Master. I seem to remember already telling you this, but the two of us can infinitely continue in this Holy Grail War. Just as we defeated Saber, the fourth day ended and everything went back to how it was before. Every time you die, someone else gets the Grail, or the fourth day ends and we return to this night. No exceptions. As long as we're part of the Holy Grail War, we keep repeating these 4 days. What? Knowing all that, why would you ask a question like this now, huh, Master? Pretty selfish of you, wouldn't you say? You've cheated death again and again, and returned to this night each time. Every time you lost, you got to start over with a clean slate, so I'd appreciate it if you'd spared me the complaints, okay? Because after all, you've gotten through by relying on that convenience without questioning it all along. I'd say now's not the time to start doubting it. Wicked laughter. My knees fall to the floor as I attempt to stand up. I still can't move my legs. How pathetic. Between my body without proper blood circulation and my personality that lets Avenger rile me up so easily, I feel about as cool and composed as a child. Avenger, let me get this straight. It doesn't matter whether we win or lose. When the fourth night comes, we're automatically sent back to this night. In exchange for being protected against death in these 4 days, we can only live in these 4 days. This is the rule of the immortality that I obtained. You've got it! Way to get right to the point. Come to think of it, I really ought to have told you that right at the start, eh? Wow, what a fucker. My servant begins whistling in an entirely exaggerated display of high spirits. Of course, an explanation like that doesn't begin to solve this riddle. There's still a veritable amount of questions that I need to ask him. First of all, why does the reset happen every 4 days? Is that the limit of your powers? Who knows? I don't understand the reasoning behind it myself. Sure is a good thing that it wasn't every 1 day instead, am I right? Is it possible for us to get past the 4th day without relying on your noble phantasm? Who knows? And anyway, it's not my noble phantasm, but a special privilege granted to you who made the contract with me. You're the one who decides what we do, not me. In that case, we need to win the Holy Grail War within these 4 days, right? Once we do, it will mean the end of this phenomenon too, correct? Who knows? We haven't tried it yet, though it sure would be nice if it did. The way things are going, we'll be stuck in these 4 days until I don't know when. I wonder if okay, so if she won and got the Holy Grail, could she wish for the time loop to end? I mean, couldn't that end it? I grip my teeth. There's no use in talking to Avenger if he can't answer my questions, or rather, if he doesn't feel like giving me any serious answers. We'll be stuck in these 4 days until I don't know when. Up until now, I thought all I needed to do was win against the others without dying myself. But the reality of it is, as long as I'm restricted to within these 4 days, they become a boundary that I cannot move beyond. 4 days. Whether or not I can defeat the other masters in 4 days. I can't. Not in only 4 days, no matter what I do. I can't defeat 6 masters in 4 days. This time, no. Last time when I beat Saber, I was at my limit. We got incredibly lucky in those last 4 days of battle. Of everything that these repetitions have taught us, the last time was just about the most perfect conceivable playthrough possible. And even then we weren't able to reach Einsburn. However I make my way through them, at the very end of the 4 days, a single enemy still remains. So do I need to change my methods? No, that's just as idiotic. If I wait for the other masters to come find me and try to take me out, my 4 days would run out just like that. And even if I fought to the furthest limits of my strength, it wouldn't be enough to make a difference in the end. In the first place, I only have 3 uses of Flagrak available for head-to-head fights like the one against Saber. One I need to use against Einsburn, and one against Saber. So the last one I should use on a servant that can't be separated from their master. No, when I've tried to fight like that, I didn't even make it past the 2nd day. Moreover, the other masters aren't our only opponents. That swarm of unknown familiars, and the Magus controlling them. Say that by some unthinkable miracle we were able to win the war, even after that, we'd still have this 8th enemy, who we've never so much as seen before, with their sights on the Grail to get rid of. What a farce. With things like this, it's almost as though I'm fighting solely for the sake of continuing the Holy Grail War. As long as my contract with Avenger is in effect, I can never move beyond these 4 days. So in that case, I just need to break that contract. What's up, Master? Something on your mind? No, I just felt a little dizzy all of a sudden. It hasn't been that long since I reincarnated after all. No, that's the one thing I can't do. Then there's only one solution. Abiding by the terms of my contract with Avenger, I must win this Holy Grail War. Even though I already know it's impossible, I must destroy the fetters that bind me to these 4 days. So, I'm wondering what Karen's role in all this is. Like, what does she have to do with this time loop, or if she's even involved in this? That all your questions? And here I was all ready for you to let me have it. The Shadow's smile hasn't left his face. He's getting on my nerves. That guy's been completely lacking in motivation from the start. Even though he's the one who brought me out here, he acts like he doesn't care a thing for the war and keeps saying stuff like, all I need to do is kill enemies, right? Without any clear goal, he just goes along with it. He's going along with the Holy Grail War without paying the slightest mind to my troubles. It's like he's just enjoying this fighting that goes on forever. That's right. You already said it before, didn't you? Let's continue this war. Not let's start it or let's end it. You said let's continue it, didn't you, Anguramayu? Avenger's abilities gave us these 4 days. So does this mean everything is going just the way Avenger wants it to? The repetition of these 4 days occurs because of this man's wish to continue the fighting and killing. Avenger, I already asked you this, but our enclosure within these 4 days is not something you created purposely, correct? It's only a side effect of resurrecting your master each time. Yeah, resurrecting the dead on the spot isn't one of my powers. All I can do is return everything to the starting point. As long as we have this contract, Master, you will never die. As for why the 4-day limit, I don't know either. Maybe that Einsburn Master does though. They're the ones in charge of the Holy Grail, so they could know all about the trick behind our situation too. The words that Avenger, no, that Anguramayu speaks are without falsehood. He's telling me the truth, or at least that's what I want to believe. Avenger, what will you wish for on the Holy Grail? When I asked you before, you gave a nonsensical answer, but in truth, the state of affairs itself is what you wish for. I swallowed those words down unspoken. I can't go saying that now. I have no proof that it's true, and besides, I have a hunch that the moment I speak those words, from that moment on, he and I will be enemies. My wish hasn't changed, but what about yours, Master? What'll you wish for once we win the Holy Grail War? Or even before that, what kind of wish was it that brought you here to Fuyuki City? Huh? The smile has disappeared from the Shadow's face. From out of the shadows, Avenger's eyes bore into mine, his face deadly serious. No, What was I going to wish for exactly? Yes, child, tell us what you wish for. Too bad Kodamine is not around anymore. A wish. My wish. I don't possess such a thing. If you forced it out of me, I'd probably say that to win the Holy Grail War and obtain the Holy Grail is my goal. Yeah, but what then? What will you wish for when you obtain the Holy Grail? When you get the Holy Grail? No, but... That's wrong. The moment I think that, dizziness assaults me. There's something I'm searching for, something I want even more than the Holy Grail. Hey, just what the heck are you looking for? I can't remember. My memory is still shaky at best. For real? Are you even sure there was something in the first place? I fixate my glare on the Shadow. The blood is finally returning to my numb legs, and I find I can move them freely again. I've had enough of our pointless chat for now, Avenger. Racking my brain trying to figure you out as a servant isn't worth my time, so I'll just pretend my first impression was right for now. What a pity. Just when I thought that we were getting all nice and cozy, I'm right back to guilty until proven innocent in your book, huh? If it bothers you so much, then maybe you shouldn't be so... No, it's just that I need to be on my guard. Avenger, starting tonight, we're changing our strategy. To win this Holy Grail War, we must figure out what's causing your ability to be limited to a period of 4 days first. There's no possible way we can win this war in only 4 days. In that case, we just need to find out why everything ends once those 4 days have passed. I see. You're pretty sharp, Master. Just one question. How do you propose we do that? You're talking about investigating something that I don't even have a clue about. Why, you yourself already figured out how we'll do it. It will be a suicide mission, but it's definitely worth trying. And besides, cheating death is the one useful skill we have. I have to do whatever it takes. With the situation the way it is, I can't trust him. That's why I need to find someone else who knows Anguramayu and the other heroic spirits better than they know themselves. Hey, wait up! I was just joking before. Let's not do that and say we did. How about that? You've got to be crazy, wanting us to launch ourselves face first at the enemy stronghold like that. I'm telling you, we're setting ourselves up for a trip to a world of pain. Whether or not that's how he really feels, Anguramayu is opposing me with all his might. The way he's looking at me with those pleading eyes, I can't help but think he looks like a puppy, and I'll admit that it's somehow charming. But I'll be damned if I let his calculated attempts to gain my sympathy throw me off track. My decision is firm. Make the preparations, Avenger. Our destination is the forest on the outskirts of town. By the day after tomorrow, we should reach the Einsburn Castle. Shouldering Rock, and with the disgruntled Angromayo in tow, I put the mansion behind me. Force of habit guides my hand into my pocket, and I tightly grip the earring inside it. Please, let good luck be with me, that at the end of our struggle towards that winter castle, I may find the answer I seek.